Hello, and welcome to the Wayfaring Panda. I'm Annette. Today I'm doing a scrapbook layout, and it'll be the one next to this page, so I need to make it coordinate with it. And also I'm participating in a YouTube hop called Mix It Up Mondays. Once a month, we get together and use a sketch, and this month we're using a sketch by Rochelle Spears, shown on the screen. Use that for inspiration and add whatever mixed media that we want to use. Since I'm going to be using mixed media, I start with a 12 by 12 white piece of cardstock because I don't want to do mixed media directly into my scrapbook. And I'm just laying down some distress ink, and I'm using antique linen and doing the packaging technique to transfer my ink that's been watered down onto my paper. I'm just going around the edges because most of this paper is going to be covered up with pattern paper and photos. I still didn't like the stark whiteness of it, so then I tried to use my blending tool to see how that would look, but I could see that was going to take a long time and it wasn't really adding colors, so I gave up on that idea. Now I'm speeding all this up so that you don't have to watch me do ink blending for a long time. I decided to go back to the packaging technique and add on a darker color, so I chose Vintage Photo since it coordinates with my other elements on this page as well as the elements on the previous page. And I think that filled in the paper better so it isn't quite as white. I wanted to add some splatters of red since I'm using red pattern paper, and I'm using Distress Ink Fired Brick since that kind of goes with the paper I'm using. I'm using this really old paintbrush which I think had gotten glue on it, so it's not working too well with splattering, so then I used an acrylic block and flick it off that, which worked better. Now this red is pretty bright, so when I was initially putting it down it kind of looked like splatters of blood. But then when I finished the layout, I don't think it really looked like that. At least I hope not. On Rochelle's layout, it looks like there's a tag on the right-hand side underneath the journaling part. So I'm going to make this tag. I cut it out with a paper punch with some kind of off-white colored cardstock. And I'm just going over that with my embossing buddy. And I'm going to emboss a horse stamp on here with my VersaFine black ink. And then I'm going to heat emboss some clear ink over that to make it shiny. Next, I'm going to use this old horseshoe stamp from Stampin' Up, and I'm just going to do the embossing again, but this time I'm using Versamark ink and some copper embossing powder from Ranger. I really like watching embossing powder melt, but this is really cool. It looks metallic as it melts. Now on this layout, I'm just using things that I already have. Everything's like older products, and I think that's great using things you already have to go along with what you're doing, so you don't have to buy anything additional than what you already own and get more use out of the products that you do have. Since I'm adding a tag, I'm going to add an eyelet, and this is a set of eyelets from We Are Memory Keepers, and this one happens to be copper colored and it's shaped like a heart. And these are still available at scrapbook.com, so I'll put a link to it below, as well as a list of all the other products that I used in this layout. Most of these will not have affiliate links since most of these are older products, but where they are still available, I'll list where they are available. Now, it takes me a while to figure out how to use the Crocodile because I haven't used it for a while. I do know it was set right because that last time I used it for an eyelet. It also punches holes, but I usually just use paper hole punches for that. Then I'm just adding some of this cranberry colored ribbon to go along with the rest of the layout and to finish up the tag. And I just leave the string long because I wasn't quite sure how long I wanted the ribbon to be on the layout. Now I'm ready to do my layout, so I'm using the stripe pattern, which is kind of similar to the chevron pattern and the layout, and it goes with the pattern collection that I'm using for the layout previous to this, and I'm using it in this one. Now my ATG runner ran out, so I had to stop and reload it, and I also tried to use my glue, which was running low. I refilled my ATG gun, and then I'm just taping it down to my actual scrapbook page so that it'll lay flatter since it's still a little bit warped from doing the mixed media on it. And I did put it under some weights, but I had to get this done so I didn't have time to get it flat. And I'll put it under some more weight and before I actually put it in my scrapbook. Now you'll see that the papers here are a little bit wider than they are in the actual layout on Rochelle's, and that's because I'm using pretty large photos and I could only get 3 photos down on this layout going down. So then I put another one to the side so I could get all 4 of my photos on the page. I used the floral pattern paper to go down along the side of the black, and I'm using black paper to go behind my photos like it shows in the paper. Of course, that's a solid color. And I'm using some cranberry paper that I backed my photos with. Now to mount my photos, I'm using photo splits, or sometimes these are called photo squares, or double-sided adhesive, which are acid-free and designed for photos. I also decided to go around my tag with some vintage photo to distress it a little bit more. And then I'm just deciding what sticker goes along with the layout. I journaled this paper to kind of look like journaling paper and just tell a little bit about the photos, that the Wells Fargo station there was used for stagecoaches in Yosemite, and then the bottom picture was used as a barracks for a bunkhouse for the Rangers. Then I just go ahead and glue down these embellishments that I made and add the sticker that's kind of in the same shape as the element in Rochelle's layout. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll make a list of all the other participants in the hop. You can find it in the description below. Please hop along and get some other ideas. I think it'll be fun to see how many different looks that people got using the same sketch. Now I'm just trying to decide what other sticker to add. There's kind of an arrow in the layout, but I wasn't sure. I didn't have anything going the right direction. Then decided this horse would look great, and it might look like it was going into this covered bridge. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and if you're not already a subscriber, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a wonderful day.